Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, we have Jonathan Rubin. He's the CEO of New Leaf Data Services. And we're going to learn more about the cannabis and hemp markets and how that rolls into indexing. It's great to have you with us, Jonathan. And New Leaf Data Services sounds really interesting. Tell us about that.
Sure. So New Leaf Data Services, we've been in business for 5 years. We have two major divisions, cannabis benchmarks and hemp benchmarks. And our mission is to bring price transparency to wholesale cannabis and hemp markets through validated, unbiased price assessments. And we serve the buyer and seller along the physical chain as well as the financial chain.
What's the difference between cannabis and hemp?
So essentially, it's just a legal definition around the THC content. So hemp is defined as 0.3% THC or lower, whereas cannabis is higher. One is meant for kind of adult use or medicinal, whereas hemp can also be for medicinal through CBD being extracted out of it, but also for industrial uses as well.
All right, let's talk about the size of the markets between
Sure.
the U.S. and Canada. How valuable are they?
They're valuable. The U.S. market is the biggest for cannabis. The U.S. market last year in 2018 and there's no precise numbers, but we estimated that it was between $8 and $10 billion in retail sales. And this year, it's not over yet, but we're estimating that the U.S. cannabis market retail will be between 11 and 13 billion, and that will split roughly 1/3 medical and 2/3 recreational or adult use.
All right, now wholesale prices, what are they now and what are the drivers for the fluctuation in movement?
So the prices are very different. In Canada, they're about 34% or so higher than they are in the US. And the differences are, one major difference is the cost of production. So in Canada, all of the production is either indoors or greenhouse, whereas in the US, we also have outdoor growing. So that outdoor component, which is currently about 30% of the market, which is driven mostly by the West Coast states, that has a lower cost of production. And there's also a number of different regulatory schemes between the US and Canada that also impact the cost.
Who are the participants now and how could they fluctuate in the future?
Sure, so right now, it's mostly the physical value chain, so it's the growers, the processors, the dispensers and retailers, and then of course the patients and customers. And in the future, what we anticipate is as these commodity markets become more commoditized, we'll start to see futures and derivatives trading, and we expect a significant inflow of institutional capital and speculative traders and hedge funds looking to make some...
Participate.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us at MarketSite.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.